We're live.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Phone Eats First. This is a podcast about romanticizing your life inside and out of the kitchen. If you're new here, hi. Hope you're doing well. I'm so happy you're here and I found this podcast. My name is Corey May, or more commonly known as Corey in the Kitchen. And today we have a very special guest. You guys have the pleasure of meeting my cousin, Rory.
Hi, guys.
She's got a great name, Corey and Rory. Yes, we're related.
Oh, yes. And are never called the right names at the right time.
No, never. So Rory is my cousin on my mom's side. Our moms are sisters. We are, fun fact, 16 years apart. Mm-hmm. And then she's 16 years younger than my mom. And then my mom is 16 years younger than her mom. Mm-hmm. So we've got a little...
And then I broke the tradition. I had my daughter too late. So I think it's a little more than 16.
Yeah.
But still.
You still... You're keeping the ball rolling. So Rory was born and raised in Northern California. Currently lives in Oakland. Had spent some time in the Bay Area. She's now the mother of two beautiful little children. Multi-time entrepreneur, business owner. You've got quite the intro. But today we're going to talk about her relationship with food just through her life, and then also starting a business and all that fun stuff.
Thank you for having me, Corey. I'm excited to be here, and I love food. So talking about food is a real pleasure for me. So thank you for having me.
Happy you're here. You are listening to Phone Eats First. So first, we're going to get into the weekly report.
Let's do it.
So, still reading the same book that I've been reading for the last 4 episodes. The Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, but don't worry, I'm halfway through it now. So sooner rather than later, I will have a different answer to this question. What are you reading?
Really good. So I just started a new book. I'm actually just doing a sample on the Kindle of The Glass Castle. However, I just finished a book called Hello Beautiful. And I forget the author, actually, but it was really great. I really did enjoy reading it.
Good. And what are you eating these days?
Well, I recently ate one of your recipes. I find that Corey in the Kitchen recipes are really great because they come together quickly, which is what I'm all about these days. So I just had the salmon soyaki. It was delicious with Brussels sprouts and rice, and it was really good.
I was actually going to say the same thing.
Okay.
Probably because we just had it for dinner.
We just enjoyed the meal together.
Yeah. It's a classic. Soyaki salmon or teriyaki.
Whatever it's so good. It really is. And I got an air fryer last Christmas. And honestly, I never really know what to do with it. I know that sounds so silly because there's a million recipes with the air fryer. But for me, I'm like, okay, I can just pop it in the oven. It's equally easy. But then when you do the salmon in the air fryer, it's just wow, I'm missing out on all these other air fryer recipes that I need to try because it's so good.
It's crispy, but still soft.
And so fast and easy.
Yeah, it took 10 minutes.
It's a winner.
Easy peasy. Mm-hmm. Okay, any fun plans, past, present?
Any fun plans? I am excited about just my business. I think over the summer, my husband is Turkish, and so we live in Turkey for 3 months where we're both working while we're there. But when we're back, it's just a refocused energy on work. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about this new phase I'm in with the kids. They're both in preschool and they're loving it. So I'm excited for the fall holiday season.
Good.
Yeah.
Which I just talked about in my turkey episode.
Yes, so I know. I'm behind an episode and I cannot wait to listen to it.
She is the muse. She's the reason I was there.
It was so much fun.
My plan, I guess 2 weeks ago, but I can't miss the opportunity to talk about it. Mm-hmm. I went to see my favorite artist live, Hosier. I don't know how to say his name. Incredible. So incredible. But I'm currently in California. I was in San Diego for work, and so then this is my 3rd annual trip to visit Oakland and San Francisco after work, so that's why I'm here. It's what we're doing.
We love it.
Fun time.
The best house guest ever, really.
Get to see friends and family, so that's always a plus. All right, what are you obsessed with at the moment?
I'm obsessed with these happiness hacks. How can you make little things just more joyful during your day? And I think, especially for me, I fall into this pattern of like just getting so busy and the day to day and this needs to happen and that needs to happen. It's like, what are the little things that I can do that like make my day so much better? And I've been doing a few, and they really do make the day like so much better.
Yeah.
And they're so small, you know? But like doing those and just like optimizing for happiness and my time, like being mindful about that.
What's something you've done that?
So I did. So it's like so small, but in the morning when I made my coffee, I made another coffee and I put it in the fridge. And then I had an iced latte when I was working in the afternoon. And like, that's so simple. Like, why did I not think about that? But having like just a nice iced latte in the afternoon was a real pick me up. It was a nice
little treat.
Yeah, it was just a nice treat, you know? And just like thinking of those things, like just thinking of like, oh, that'd be really nice right now.
Yeah. It's a treat to yourself.
It's a treat. And it's so little. And so it's so little, but it just like, it makes you happy in that moment, you know, and it makes you just look at the day a little different, you know?
Yeah. Mine's actually pretty tied to this because mine is getting sun in my eyes in the morning.
Oh, that's a good one.
So it's just a very small task. But if you do it, you're just like, oh.
Do you just go outside and...
So I kind of have an easy out because I have a dog. So it's like...
Okay, you have a morning walk.
Mm-hmm. Or just like going in the yard and like either having my coffee outside while she's playing in the yard or just like sitting there. Sometimes, you know, can't always get the sun, but when you can...
But you try.
Yeah.
And it really does change. Like this weekend, actually, it was great weather here. And on, I don't know, Saturday or Sunday morning, you know, I just went outside and had my coffee on the deck. Mm-hmm. And it was just a real mood booster. It was great.
You just feel at one with the earth.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good thing to remember.
And I definitely don't do this every day. So, but when you can and when you think about it, it's great.
It's good.
It just feels good.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a recipe that you've been making, want to make?
I follow Wishbone Kitchen, and I just tried her Italian sausage and tortellini soup. And I thought it was really good. I think, you know, there's some modifications I would make next time. Most of them were my fault, not from her recipe. Like just better pureeing the vegetables. But it was delicious. It was really good. And so that was a recipe that I recently tried.
I can attest. It was good.
And we'll make it again. Yeah, I'll make it again.
Love Wishbone Kitchen.
Yeah, me too.
Manifesting she'll be on this podcast one day.
I hope so. She's great. It's so cool. She's great.
My recipe is a classic. It's my protein smoothie. Figure I might as well share it now. I have this every day of my life almost. I even make it on my work trips at like 5 a.m. Not that that's fun, but it's worth it. So I just do plant-based vanilla protein. And then if I'm home, I do collagen, which I have actually noticed a difference in like my nails and skin. I feel like they're a little bit better, specifically like my fingernails, like they just are growing faster, which is a pro. And added protein. And then we do the spinach, milk of choice, which I normally do almond milk, but I've done like whole milk before. Not that I do that often, but typically almond milk. And then frozen berries, plain Greek yogurt, and a whole banana. And hits a spot every day.
Really good. It's interesting about the collagen because I've been reading about liquid collagen versus you know, powdered collagen, because I've only had powdered collagen before in things like smoothies and things like that. But liquid collagen, I mean, it's more expensive, and you just drink like a little, I don't know, a tablespoon or something in the morning, but is supposed to have, you know, the same benefits but just faster absorption. I don't know, something interesting. I wanted to do a little bit of research about it. I don't know if you'd ever heard about it, but like one of those little happiness hacks, you know, it's like, what are some other things?
Like you're doing something good for yourself.
Exactly.
So it must be good.
Exactly.
Interesting. I've never heard of it, but maybe I'll see it and try it.
Yeah.
I wonder if it still has the same protein, because it's
right. I don't know.
Typically has like 10 grams of protein.
Oh, I mean, that's also, a good benefit, especially for like smoothies, or also I make it sometimes like for bars for the kids, granola bars. But anyway, yeah.
All right. And what's a little treat that you've had recently, or just something in life?
A little treat. I mean, I feel like my go-to is always massage. I'm a big massage gal. So I recently had one and it was wonderful.
I need one.
Oh my gosh. It's really, you just need it. Or I do. You know, I just feel like my body gets so out of whack. It's really a treat to go and have like, you know, the hour or 2 hours, however long you go for, to just zone and enjoy.
I've been saying I need a massage for like probably the last 2 years that I've been working my job.
Okay, 2 years. Yeah, yes,
my physical labor job.
You are due for one.
Okay, my treat, I'm surprised you didn't say this one, but is your chocolate chip pumpkin muffins that are sitting on the counter.
Those are also very good. And I just did,
gone.
so we did 2 versions, muffins, mini muffins, because my kids love those, and the bread. And tonight was the first night I had the bread, and the bread was really good.
Yeah, I think the muffins are better, but
oh, wow. Yes.
they're just like more
They're
moist.
more, yeah.
Because they're just little
They're
guys.
really good. I mean, the chocolate chips are really an added treat.
Well, mandatory.
Mandatory. Yeah. I mean, you know, pumpkin bread is delicious. It's actually from the New York Times cooking app. There's a great brown butter pumpkin recipe. It's really good, but much better when made with chocolate chips.
And
most things are.
Need to mention these were made while I took like a 5-hour nap yesterday. Just woke up to chocolate chip muffin pumpkin
it's
bread.
So good. It's good. Yes.
So that was our weekly
Those are good
report.
ones. Yeah, those are good. Nice reflection.
Yeah.
On the week.
Makes you think about different aspects of your life.
Sure does. Yeah. And also things that you want to do in the next weeks. Like, oh, how are other ways I could treat myself? Or, you know, this or that.
Mandatory to treat yourself at least once a day.
I think so. Easy to forget.
Maybe not a massage every day.
Not a massage every day, but like, okay, an iced coffee is okay. Is doable.
Your morning coffee that you...
Or getting some sunshine first thing in the morning. That's a good one.
Tea sip.
Yeah. Tea break.
I think I'm going to have that in every
also,
episode.
I will say that my evening tea is also a treat. I
have it every night.
Yeah, it's so good. It's really good.
Just like calms your body down.
It sure does. Yeah, it's really nice.
Warms the soul. All right. And so being from the Bay Area, I mean, you've lived here for forever.
Yeah.
Except for when you were in college.
Forever, yeah. Yes, that's true.
What are some food recs that you have?
So I have a few that are kind of like long-standing places, but then there have been so many new places in the past few years that honestly I haven't been able to try yet, but I want to. So I would say like one of the tops, which is like where I wish we would go every special occasion, is Kokkari in San Francisco. It's an amazing Greek restaurant, but really it's kind of Mediterranean, Mediterranean food, great fish, great meat dishes, but it's super pricey. So it's a treat, a celebration kind of restaurant. And then also another place in San Francisco in the Mission called Lolo, which is amazing, kind of Mexican. I mean, it's a Mexican restaurant, but it's really kind of like creative dishes and California Mexican inspired dishes. And it's really good. And they have great
you have been to that
margs.
one?
I have been there. They have like great margs, great food, really cool like vibe and atmosphere. Love that place. So those are a couple that I recommend. They're kind of like the standbys. And then honestly, in this phase of my life, I'm not going out to eat as much as I used to. So I haven't been able to try all these new spots that I want to.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll be able to report back on that and change that.
Yeah. The last time I had Mexican in the city, I had an entire margarita spilled on me.
Oh my God.
But it was a great restaurant. The bartender just
totally
missed. And
oh geez. That's a lot of marg.
It was a lot of liquid.
Yeah. It's a lot of liquid to be sitting on you. Probably at the beginning of dinner since it was like, yeah.
Yep. It was like the pre-dinner bar drink and.
Oh man. Okay. Well, hopefully maybe that one was on the house, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, no, tequila shots on the house after.
Good.
And I was like,
well then.
It's a Wednesday night, man. Yeah. This isn't what I want.
But I'll take it.
Yeah. It would be rude not to. All right. Let's get into it.
Let's dig in.
Yeah. So today, well, after chatting last night a little bit about just everything, I kind of felt like Rory had a lot to share about her relationship with food just throughout her life and how her perspective of food has changed, and whether it's like what she eats every day or how she keeps her family alive every day.
Yeah. Which is a tall order.
How she keeps herself alive and fed. So just food serves a different purpose at different times of everyone's lives. And so how has food changed in your life?
So I'll preface it by saying I love food. I love cooking. I love dining. Like I love the experience of thinking about what you're going to cook, making it, eating it, cleaning the kitchen. Like I love that sort of ritual of things. I probably didn't start feeling that way until maybe in my mid 20s, because, you know, like I was in college and I was just kind of like eating whatever, and then graduated, got an apartment with friends, and then kind of like finding your groove in the kitchen with roommates and figuring that all out. And I was lucky to live with a lot of my best friends. So we all like to cook. So we kind of would try different things and cook together. And so that was kind of where it really started. And I would say in my, like, you know, all through like 20s and 30s, just like loved cooking and like trying new recipes and really making a meal, right? Like a dinner, like, okay, planning out all the different pieces of the menu. What are we going to eat? And taking that time. And so then then met my now husband, and we love to go and eat out. So like our life always centered around food. Like we would travel to places where we wanted to eat, go to restaurants. And then once we had kids, it like takes this shift to like, oh my God, now I need to be cooking literally all the time. Like feeding these hungry small people that are like hungry and picky and need to eat healthy things. And like, how do you just like make that shift in your head? And for me, it was hard actually, because for a while I was still trying to like make these elaborate meals when my daughter was younger. And then you just realize like you don't have that bandwidth. Like I didn't have the mental bandwidth to plan that out and then to do it. And then also to like have, you know, she was too little at the time, but like, she's not going to eat that. Like we do a lot of modifications now on things. Now I'm in this place where, of course, like food is still something. Like if I'm just with my husband or out with my girlfriends or by myself, like I will plan around the meal. Like where are we going to eat? What are we going to eat? But like when we're at home during the week, also we're both just like really busy with work. It's like, what can we make that we all like parts of? How can it be made quickly? How can it be made easily? And, you know, like, how is it going to like nourish us? It's not so much of like, of course we all sit down at dinner and like eat together, but it's not so much, our kids are too young to like have that be like the experience. It's like, how can we get everybody fed and like continue on with the evening of like meltdowns and bathroom at bedtime?
Minimal meltdowns at dinner is
You know
the
what I
goal
mean? Like,
every night.
Exactly. And so like, I hope though that like, even though normally we're like eating dinner together, if it looks different, like one kid's getting up to do something, one, you know, like that tradition stays, so that when they're a little bit older, it's normal to be sitting down at the table and all eating together, because I do think that's really important. And I do think that helps kids eat better. I think it's important for your family, like just for that ritual. Because I'm realizing now that I really think of like food and eating as like a ritual that's important for connection and for just like your life.
Yeah.
So yeah, right now I'm always interested in making modifications on meals. Like, okay, I know my husband and I love to eat this. Like the kids won't eat that, but they'll eat part of it, or they'll eat this. And like, how can we make it work for everybody?
Or like last night, you made the broccoli, but you didn't season theirs.
Exactly.
You pulled it first and then gave it with like lemon juice and then seasoned ours.
Exactly. So like, how can we do that? And also like a big piece of it too is like, what do I want to eat? I think, you know, my kids are still young, but there was a phase where I just like really did not look forward to dinner time. Like I didn't want to cook it. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to meal prep for it. And so I had to like shift that mindset, because like I need to cook dinner. So thinking about like, what do I want to eat? And then kind of working from there and then making modifications on that was like one of these little happiness hacks, I guess, because then it's like, okay, even if if the kids like don't eat that well, I'm eating something that I want to eat too.
Yeah.
You know, so like that's a win.
Cheese
exactly. Like I'm happy, and you know, so that's something that I'm like kind of shifting now. But I think like just in general with food too, it's like so important to have like a healthy relationship with food, especially with your kids, because how you're eating and what you're eating is what they learn. And so, you know, like I'm always mindful of how I talk about food in front of them, like healthy, not healthy, what I'm eating, what I'm not eating, you know, like if they're having dessert, I'm having dessert too, you know, like just modeling like a healthy relationship with food.
That's something I've never even like thought of, obviously, because I'm not at that time of my life, but just it's something you have to do. Because like, of course I've thought about like how parents or just like parental figures talk about their weight in front of kids
all the time,
but like food in general too.
Food in general. And also, I mean, it's hard with like our culture, and not just our culture. I can only say from like US and also in Turkey, it's like commenting on someone's body is so common. And it's so, I really hate it, but like it's so common. And so our kids are always going to be up against like their own body image and what they're eating. So we need to like model healthy ways at home. And I think like with food, it's really important because when your kids see you not eating something or talking about something as unhealthy, like they internalize that and that's what they learn. And so, you know, I feel like that's really important not to do. So I mean, I have a healthy relationship with food. I love it. Yeah. But like, I think just being mindful of that is something that I never really thought about until I had kids and I realized how much outside influence like our cultures have on your mindset of and your body image.
Yeah.
I guess.
Charlie told me recently, my brother's fiance, that she has never heard a family that she's ever encountered talk about food more than my family does. Which
that's great.
I don't know exactly what she meant by that,
Yeah.
but I know it was like in a good sense.
In a good sense.
Of just how I eat at all times of the day.
Definitely.
And we're just always like, we literally plan our lives around food.
Yeah. And I love that, you know, and I think the same way, like family holidays, it's just about the food for me. Like, what are we going to be eating? Of course, it's hanging out with family and enjoying, but like, what are the meals? Like who's doing what? You know, like I love that. So yeah, I think it's, you know, it's a good thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And how do you find balance in feeding yourself, feeding a family unit and working?
It's hard. And I'm still finding my balance. Like, I don't think I found it because, so my husband and I both are entrepreneurs. So we have like not traditional 9-to-5s, which is good in a lot of senses because we're working from home. So theoretically, I should be able to come to the kitchen at lunch and make a nice lunch or at least a good enough lunch and then continue working. However, I find that if I don't plan everything out, it won't happen. And because you just get trapped with the limited hours that you have while the kids are at school to like get work done. So, you know, for me, I have to really plan it. So like Sundays, I plan out our meals. And I don't plan out. It's actually interesting now that we're having this conversation. I'm like having a light bulb moment. Like I don't plan out my lunches and my breakfasts, and I should because that's always where I'm lacking. Like I'll always eat because I'm hungry and I need to eat. I'm not enjoying every meal. Like, ooh, yeah, that was a great sandwich or whatever, you know, it is.
Do you eat leftovers?
Yeah. So I eat leftovers and sandwiches and love making like different toasts. It depends, like, you know, the time of year, smoothie bowls, like in the summer. But I don't do that every day. And I would love to, like I should do that every day because I feel just so much better when I'm eating food that I really enjoy and like thoughtfully eating it.
And took the time to
make it. Like, even if it's 5 minutes, you know, took the time to make it and sit down and enjoy it before like going back to work.
Yeah.
So I would say that like I'm definitely trying to find my balance. Like I found with dinners more of a balance in terms of timing of things. Like I have to get dinner started. Like I can't make a full dinner during dinner time because life is just so chaotic here with the kids. Like it's like meltdown city. So like I'll try and prep as much as I can when I come up to get my lunch and either like have some stuff prepped, have some stuff made so that I can we can more easily throw things together for dinner. So just like being really structured about time management has been helpful.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like having the rice ready, having the rice ready.
Exactly. Like what can I have ready that's having all the vegetables washed, having whatever cut up needs to be cut up. Like what can I do to save time for later? Because also, especially like in this shift, this is like way too much detail, but like especially in the shift of like kids going back to school, they're eating so early. So like they come home and like literally they want to have dinner at like 4:45.
That's what I did all through high school. I get home at like 3:50 and be like, Mom.
Yeah. So then I guess that's just is what it is, right? Like, so then you have to have everything ready. So like my husband and I also eat with them like at 5. You know, normally, you know, not every day because people have meetings and this and that, but like we try to. But then it's like you have to have things ready so early. to mitigate the hunger meltdowns, the hanger meltdowns.
We'll just know that that's the next like 10 years of your life
okay,
if
good.
the trend continues.
Knowing that you did it, in high school is like, oh.
But that's also because I would come home, have to eat because then I had
then you have
practice.
To go to practice. Exactly. Like you have things.
And then have dinner number 2.
And then come back
do
and have homework.
No, dinner time number 2 is after practice. And then you would do homework, shower, have like cereal bowl at like 11:30 p.m.
Yeah, and go. Which, by the way, it's so crazy. Like, I think it's also so, this is like a whole other like podcast thing, but just like how scheduled kids are. Mm-hmm. Isn't it nuts? Like, they need sleep too. But I remember this too in high school, the same thing. And like, you're up so late and doing homework like super late. And then you're up super early for school. And then if you had like, there was times when I had sports that were in the morning, and it's just like, wow, it's a lot.
And you don't drink coffee at any of this time.
You don't drink coffee at any of that time. I mean, it's nuts. Like I kind of look back, it's like, how do you do that? But I guess you're just young. That's just what you do.
That's all you know.
That's all you know. But yeah, it's just like, and I think too, we're getting totally off topic, but
that's the whole point.
You know, like I see it with kids, with families, with like kids, my kids' age, where they have like all these extracurriculars. And I'm like, whoa, they're like, do I need to be doing that? And then I'm like, no, I don't think I do right now. They have a lot going on and they like need sleep, and they also just need to play. I mean, they're so young, they just need to play. But yeah, it's a lot. The sports start young for kids, you know?
They get extreme pretty quickly
They get extreme pretty quickly and like intense on timing and commitment, but there's a lot of good that comes out of that, you know, like I think that that's great. There's a lot of things that are really great about that. And also it makes you think about just like the time commitment for the whole family. Mm-hmm.
And then just makes the whole food schedule even more.
It makes the whole food schedule. So like, I really do think, you know, once you like go down this path and, you know, your jobs sort of change, or you have kids and then your kids are growing and then they have schedules. It's like, how do you plan for food? You know, it's like, okay, yeah, you have to have something like as quick as possible, but like, how can we make it as good as possible? You know, it's hard.
What's like kind of the key tips you have for keeping yourself nourished and then also like your kids? Cause like they don't eat much.
Right. They don't eat much. Like I think for me, like prioritizing myself, like what do I want to eat? Like what do I have the bandwidth to cook? I think like for me also just getting real with myself around like, I don't have the bandwidth to do what I was trying to do before, you know? And then I'm just like pissed and no one ate anything. And then there's like, my husband and I have like a full kitchen to clean, you know what I mean? So I think just the tips are like, do what is right for you in that moment. Like if easy dinners are what you can handle, just do an easy dinner. Like if you don't want to clean dishes every night, use paper plates. Like if you want to like have an elaborate meal, then go get it, you know, like just knowing what you have the bandwidth for.
It's good advice.
And that goes with everything. It's just like some things you can't have 100% at everything.
You talk a lot about food as a ritual and just kind of like it's something bigger than just a meal.
Yeah.
It's an event.
Yeah.
And I know you don't always get to do your ideal ritual, but kind of what does food mean to you as a ritual?
I think
or what do you hope it will mean?
Yeah, like it's like just nourishment. It's also a way to show love, I think. You know, like I love cooking. I love having a Sunday. Like my ideal Sunday would be a Sunday where I can be in the kitchen, where I have like with my family around me, you know, like kids are playing, husband's hanging out, cooking too, you know, like we're all just like around the kitchen and cooking a meal that kind of is like a slow meal all day that's cooking. House is smelling good. House is warm, you know, just like you sit down, you eat the meal, you clean up the kitchen. Like it's just that ritual of like togetherness that I really love, because I feel like in our lives, like it's so easy to become disconnected. Like it's so easy to get so caught up in the day-to-day shuffle and got to do this, got to do that. And it's nice to like really prioritize that slow time. And like that slow time for me usually means cooking. Of course, like just relaxing and reading too, but like cooking something.
Yeah. So you like actually enjoy like the act of cooking.
I enjoy the act of cooking.
Cleaning. Yeah. Serving.
Yeah. Yes. Like I enjoy the act. I mean, cleaning, not so much, but luckily my husband's usually on cleaning duty, but I love the act of cooking, like a long meal, you know, and it doesn't need to be complicated, but just like having something on the stove, having something like in the oven, knowing that, oh great, I'm making these muffins, like the kids are going to have them for breakfast, or I'm making this cake, we're going to have this like great dessert this week, you know, like just having, like getting ahead of the week by enjoying a Sunday that's intentional about the day and also how it's going to best serve us for the week.
Yeah. That's why Sundays are my favorite days.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's why I'm dropping my podcast on Sundays.
It's great.
Ideally,
I love it, you know? And like, I always hated that like Sunday scaries mentality, but like I totally had it, of course. Like when I was working in like different jobs that I was just not happy in, it's like you have that, but it's like, what a bummer, you know, like, what a bummer to have that dread for your next week.
Yeah. I actually talk about that in one of my episodes it was either with Caroline or after Caroline, because she was saying she gets the Sunday scaries for work. And I'm like, that's such a bummer.
It's such a bummer.
You shouldn't have that with work.
Because it's the worst feeling. Like I remember having like just crazy Sunday scaries where I'd go, and I was like probably in my, you know, late 20s. Yeah, mid to late 20s mostly. And then it's like I would just go out with friends, go to brunch, like drink during the day, and then that makes it worse. And then just like never feel like caught up. Yeah. And never feel, I mean, I still, I mean, feeling caught up is not, is in your vocabulary. Yeah. Exactly. But like just having that feeling of like, oh God, like I do not want to go to work tomorrow. Yeah. Like that sucks.
Because then it just like sets your whole week off.
Sets your whole week off.
Like I'm going to have that this upcoming Sunday because I'm taking a red eye home on Saturday.
But then you'll be home on Sunday. Yeah. And you get to do your like rituals
just
on Sunday.
Do my things. Yeah.
Just do your thing. Yeah.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. I mean, yes. And like, of course, some Sundays it's like, man, this is going to be a tough week. Like this is going to be a hard one. But you know, like to have more Sundays that aren't that way is a win.
Or to at least do like one little thing. Like you were saying, just one little thing that makes your Sunday a little bit better, makes your week look a little bit more positive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, good. Now we're going to transition into your badass business owning life.
Oh, I don't know about that, but yes.
Yeah. So you've started what, 2 businesses?
So
3?
I've started 2 businesses, I would say. I mean, lots of little sort of like side project things, but 2 businesses.
2 like legit companies.
Yeah. Yes. And the first one was a consulting business. So a business that was basically myself. And the second one is a product business. So 2 totally different businesses that have very different learning curves and, you know, levels of intensity. Yeah.
And so you're currently in the product business.
I'm currently in the product business.
We're going to plug it, Pine and Palm.
Pine and Palm Home. And I sell Mediterranean home textiles. So bath towels, beach towels, going into loungewear, robes, doing, you know, it's all celebrating like specifically the Turkish culture and their amazing craftsmanship in textiles, but also handmade items. The quality and just like the artisanry that goes behind it. And so anyway, I produce them all in Turkey and sell them here.
You want to pause?
Yeah, can we pause for a minute?
Yeah. Baby crying.
Back in action.
So you helped motivate me to start this podcast, which you know that already because you just already know so many different things about business and you're one just like inspiring and motivating me to do it, but you were just able to help me kind of like turn my ideas into real ideas. And then here we are. So
I know. And I'm so proud of you because really, I mean, any business, any like project is just an idea that you try and put it out into the world. And you had it all inside of you. And I'm so glad that you launched the podcast. It's awesome.
Yeah. So how did you find your own motivation to start back in the day?
That's a great question. I think so. The first business that I started was a consulting business. And I was before that in the corporate world, working in tech, in marketing, but then like in the later stages of my career was all around in like working in social impact and sustainability and helping companies build out those kinds of programs within the business. And I loved it. Like I really, really enjoyed doing it. And I felt that when I was doing that at this one company, like the company was acquired and I didn't want to stick around through the acquisition because it was clear that they weren't going to keep my role and they weren't going to keep like that business unit. So I started looking around full time, and it was really hard to find what I was looking for. And so in the meantime, while I was doing that, I had a lot of people reach out to me and say, hey, I want to start this kind of program at my company. Like, where do I start? How do I do that? Like, I'm in HR, I'm not in HR. I want to do this kind of volunteer program. We want to start a giving program. Like, where do we even start thinking about that? And so I really just started doing that and like giving advice to friends and old colleagues, and then realized like, wait, maybe this is actually a good business idea. And how can I package that and help companies that are small, medium size start to build out philanthropic programs in their business and really tie it to the business. And so the motivation there was kind of out of necessity because I needed a job, but also out of just interest to see what it would be like to have my own business. I always thought I want to have my own business, but what does that actually mean? And there's a lot of amazing things, and there's a lot of really challenging things.
Yeah.
And so I think that was sort of the motivation that sparked that new job or that, new business. And I loved it. And I did that for 4 or 5 years, maybe more, 5 to 6 years. And I really loved it. And honestly, anyone thinking about going into consulting, I think you should do it. I mean, I think you should really think about it and make sure that like the business is right. And, if you're thinking about that and ever want to talk about it, I love talking about it. So reach out to me. But, because I was making more money doing the same thing in a company on my own and working, less hours. But you have to be, there's a lot of trade-offs too.
Right.
You're at the call of your clients and you don't have that much control over your schedule, so there's definitely gives and takes. But that was sort of like what started that.
And then what are some of the misconceptions about starting a business, whether they're challenges or something that was better than you thought?
So I think, at least with the first business with consulting, the money was better than I thought, However, like there were lots of challenges that I didn't know about. One, it takes a long time to get your business going. And also there's a lot of hard, mind-numbing admin work that goes behind starting a business, like figuring out the right way to file your taxes. Like, how do you get health insurance? How do you think about, insurance and liability insurance for your business? Like all just these things that are not so difficult to figure out. It just takes a lot of time because most often you're working with like governmental agencies, which is never that much of a pleasure. So, there's just like a lot of paperwork, so to speak.
Yeah, that's like not even associated to what you're doing.
Not even associated to what you're doing, but like super critical to make sure that you have your ducks in a row and that you're filing your taxes, how you should be filing your taxes, So I think some of those things, and also just, especially in the beginning, like your job is sales. Like even if you're like, my business was not sales. It was, business planning, consultation, you know what I mean? But like to get your clients, you need to be in sales. And so that was also something that I wasn't fully prepared for. Where am I networking? How am I doing that? How am I getting myself out there? Thinking about like your own personal brand. And that was something that, I underestimated the amount of time and effort that I would need to put in there.
Yeah. That's one thing my dad like at least taught me from the get-go is he said, everything you're going to be doing is sales. Whether you're
100% right.
selling a product or selling yourself.
Yes.
And
your dad is the master at it, because he's always selling, but it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah. You feel like you're just like talking to him.
Having a conversation with him. Yeah. And so you have great, and your mom is that way too, so like you have great role models in that way, because I think it's so important. Like you're always selling yourself or your business or your products or whatever.
Or just like selling that someone should listen to you and care.
Exactly.
And so what advice do you have for anyone that is even considering starting their own business?
I think, so I'm always a proponent of it. When I was working and doing something on the side, I know myself and I'm not going to put my full energy towards it unless I have to. So if you're thinking of starting a business and you're really serious about it, I think you should get serious at the next level and like look at your finances and think about, okay, what kind of business am I starting? How much cash do I have in the bank? You know, what does the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year look like? Let's say I get no business for 6 months. Like, can I support myself on that? And if I can't, then maybe you do something on the side while you have a job and start to build that up before you make the leap. And I think, I mean, I'm always like an optimist. So I really do think that when you start something new and you put your full energy into it and you put your full heart into it and you really work hard at something and you iterate and you fail and you learn and you keep going, you're going to be successful. Like, it's not always a clear shot to success. It's definitely not, you know, but if you have that hardworking attitude and like the attitude, like, I'm going to do it, then you're going to do it. You know, like, you're going to do it. You're going to find a way to do it. So I think really, like, do it, start it, you know, start the podcast, start the business, start the side business, start the hustle, like start whatever it is that like gets you excited and gives you that spark, because you'll find a way to like fill your life more with that. And I think like my only real advice is just make sure whatever you're doing, you're financially not going to stress yourself out about it, you know? So it's like, if you need to have a full-time job or a part-time job while you start a side thing, do that, you know, like do that, but don't let that be like the reason why you don't start it. Like, oh, I can't, I don't have the time. I don't have the energy, which I totally get. I tell myself that all the time still, you know, like I don't have the time. I don't have the energy, because we all have the time and the energy to do the things that we want to give attention to.
Yeah, that's so true. And then one thing that you told me that just kind of stuck was how you can always change.
You can always change
the business.
Yes.
The branding, the name, like you can
everything.
Like, just like start.
And I think like that I'm, you know, I am moving away from it, but like what would you say, like reforming, you know, perfectionist. Like I don't want to do anything until it's right. And that's going to kill your business. Like that's not what you need to do. And so I'm reteaching myself this, you know, but like just start it. Nothing's permanent. Like you can modify it, you grow. That's what businesses are supposed to do. Like your branding probably is not going to look the same on day one that it does 10 years down the line.
My cover art.
Yours may and maybe, but you know, if it works, keep it.
Yeah.
But you know, like your messaging, and I tell myself this all the time, because like my messaging is, I'm only 2 years into this business. Like my messaging is still evolving and my focus is still evolving. And so it's just knowing that, you know, getting it out there is better than it being perfect. Because that's how you learn. Like you get feedback on things, you learn things from customers, you know, so you just got to get started.
Yeah. And nothing will ever actually be perfect.
Started. Nothing will ever be perfect. No, there is no perfect. Like you just need to get started. And that's not just like with a job. That's just with anything that you're excited about. Just start it.
That's great advice.
I know. Well, you know, now I'm thinking too, like, oh God, what else do I want to start? I don't have the bandwidth right now, but you know, that's also just like hobbies. Like, oh my God, I'm really interested in painting. Like take a painting class.
Yeah.
You know, we need to remind ourselves of these things because life is fast and like you just forget to do these things. You know, you really do. And it's a shame.
And before you know it, you have 2 kids.
Before you know, you got 2 kids and you're figuring out how to make a fast dinner, you know, like
and how to keep them from
keep them at the table
crying
and throwing their food, you know,
eating dinner under the table.
You know, if they're eating it, they can eat under the table. We're at that phase right now. But yeah, I think, you know, life is like, it's so cliche, but it's true. Like life is short and you got to do the things that make you happy and, you know, do them with the people that make you happy and just live your life and nobody cares. Like no one wakes up thinking about us. You know, like I also get in this phase of like, oh my God, what is this person going to think, or this, or is this good enough? You know, it's like, no one thinks about that. Just do it. You got to wake up and think like, am I happy with this? What do I think about this? That's who you need to ask, you know? And I always need to remind myself of that.
That was deep. I feel like we have to end on
deep.
that. That was
I
good.
mean, I don't know if I can get any deeper than that. But this is so fun. This has been so nice to chat with you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for chatting with me, for staying up well past our bedtime too.
Well worth it.
Yes. Well, thanks everyone for listening. You can follow along at Kory_in the kitchen. And you can also follow Pine and Palm. What's your Instagram and website and all that?
Shop Pine and Palm. Instagram and website. Yeah. shoppineandpalm.com.
Perfect. Get your Turkish towels. They're thinner, faster drying, quality materials made with
made
people.
In Turkey. Yeah. Made in Turkey, small batch, and they're good. They're good.
Yeah. I've got them in Raleigh if anyone wants to come take a shower and use your towels. Just kidding. That'd be weird. Well, yeah. Thanks, everyone. We will talk soon.
Talk to you later.